I traded against Chat GPT for 6 months and here are the results. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I know it's been a while, it's been like 2 months since my last video, so I've been pretty busy with some other stuff, but I thought I would bring you an update to my Chat GPT challenge. It has been getting some steady views, so I had 2 parts released so far and both parts did very good, and I definitely thought an update was needed. In the background, I kept trading with ChatGPT, so I kept doing everything every single day. For any new viewers, here's how the challenge works. So basically I go to ChatGPT and I give it a daily prompt. I tell ChatGPT, give me a trade on the S&P and on a major currency pair of your choice. And I aim to execute this prompt every day at around 11 a.m. London time. Now, what I also did for this part 3, I actually started to trade a funded challenge with ChatGPT signals. So I thought, what would happen if I applied ChatGPT to a real funded challenge? It's a 50k challenge. I'm gonna show it to you a bit later. Could I get some payouts using just ChatGPT? So let's jump onto the PC and let me show you the results. Here is the trade journal. So these are all of the positions that ChatGPT took so far. We have 99 trades and the current percentage is plus 24.85%. I think that's pretty good. What do you think? You can put it in the comments. So I started on June 4th, 2025. Today is the 19th of November. So I would say that for 6 months of trading, these results are pretty good. What I can also show you, since this is a Notion file and I'm basically using Notion for the trade journal, if you click on the chart here, which I set up, this is the equity curve. And I think this is kind of the main star of the show of today's video. So here is the actual equity as ChatGPT has been trading. So what I want you to see is look at the drawdowns. Can you see any massive drawdowns? Can you see any massive spikes down? I don't really see them. So the 2 drawdown periods that I experienced were in September, as you can see here. So from 24.4% to, I would say the low was 18.79. And I'm currently in a drawdown as well. So from this peak of 35.15 to now 24.85. So currently, yeah, I'm in a bit of a drawdown. I would say the biggest drawdown so far. What is also pretty unfortunate is I started trading my DNA Funded Challenge account, so the 50k prop firm account, right around August. So I just went into drawdown and now I'm sort of back into break even. I was pretty close to passing phase 1, I will show you that, but now I'm back to break even on the 50k account. But overall, ChatGPT is still up around 24.85%, and comparing that to, let's say, the S&P, so these are all of the trades from ChatGPT. If we jump onto the daily chart, let's just compare how the S&P did from June. So let's find June, let's find 4th of June, up until today, 12.2%. So ChatGPT is clearly beating the SPX, which is definitely nice to see. If you want me to filter some trades, what we can do is I can filter only for the S&P. See, this is the power of Notion, by the way. Free software, absolutely amazing. And here is only the S&P. So this is only the S&P and the percentage is 15.07%. The chart is still going to be all of the setups, so that doesn't work with the filter. But you can see ChatGPT is profitable both on the S&P, and if we say does not contain the S&P, then you're gonna filter only for currency trades. Currency trades 9.78%, still pretty profitable. And it's not just buying, it is also buying and selling. Well, on currencies it makes sense because they don't trend up over time. But for the S&P, it is mostly buying, but also there were some sell setups as well. And sell setups ended up being profitable. See? So we filtered for only S&P 500 trades. We filtered for sell setups right there. And we ended up with 18 trades plus 2.61. And then we have, of course, only buy setups that we can filter. And that was plus 12.46%. Now, something that I have noticed recently is ChatGPT definitely prefers to buy the S&P. So what I'm wondering is, was this performance recently, like the massive uptrend that you saw in the equity curve? I can show you. So if we go to the chart, so overall great performance was that linked with the S&P uptrend? We will see, because right now we are experiencing a bit of a drawdown in the S&P. We also had a bit of a drawdown in September and October, and look what happened in the equity curve. So September and October were definitely problematic. See, they were flat in performance, and now this is in a drawdown as well. Chat GPT really likes to buy the S&P. If I zoom in on the 1 hour chart, I can show you the latest performance. So what I also do after Chat GPT gives me a signal, I just paint the trade on TradingView. So I have the S&P, of course, and I have all of the currency trades that Chat GPT took so far. So UJ is the current one, running in some steady profit, but let's focus on the S&P. I think that is a bit more interesting. 1 loss, 2 losses, 3, 4 losses trying to buy the S&P. Pretty bad, not working out so far. What I'm worried is what will happen if we just see a massive meltdown. So if you have been watching my live streams, you would know that I'm kind of bearish on the stock market. I'm expecting a bit of a pullback, nothing fancy, like not a crash like 2008 or COVID, but maybe 15 to 20% pullback to the 200 EMA. I think that is very possible and very likely. Well, I'm worried if we do get that 15% pullback and ChatGPT just continues to buy all the way to the lows, that could be a big drawdown. So that is something I'm worried about, but of course I will continue testing, so we will have to see. Or maybe the S&P will bounce to the upside like this, and then of course it is just smooth sailing, and that is gonna be pretty good for the performance. So here is ChatGPT, of course, the software. I get questions, are you using the paid version? No, it's the free version, absolutely free. I'm not paying for ChatGPT. And the latest prompt was today. So today around 11 a.m. London time, that is when I executed these prompts. I told ChatGPT you got taken out of both positions, pick new positions for today, and I will give you the exact entry prices. So great, both trades are closed. Both trades were a loss, by the way. New trades for today: S&P sell, UJ buy, and then send me current SPX price and UJ price. Then I send the current price, because for some reason ChatGPT has a pretty hard time getting access to the recent pricing. I tried to use ChatGPT and just give like a request like this without the current price, and it's pretty bad. So it messes up the price, and then you get a bad position. So I just say current SPX price is 6641, current UJ price is blah blah blah, and then it actually switched to a buy setup. I don't question these decisions. As you can see, first it wanted to sell and now it wants to buy. So I'm not sure what happened there. It's a bit inconsistent, I'm not gonna lie, but I just blindly respect the trade signals, because so far they have had some pretty decent performance. So that's the challenge parameters. I cannot change the challenge parameters. I just have to blindly follow the last instruction, which is buying the S&P, buying UJ, and you have some reasoning as well, which I of course save in the trade journal. If we go to the table, open, you can see I save the reasoning and then I put the outcome of the position. So everything gets logged into my Notion, which I believe is pretty good for making these videos. And I know some people in the comments wanted to see the original prompt. Here is the original prompt. I changed it a bit as the experiment went on. I changed it from 0.5% risk to 1% risk per trade, per every single position. And I changed some other stuff as well. But this is the original prompt if anyone is interested. For the final part, here is the DNA funded challenge. So 50K account, still in phase 1. These are the parameters. So profit target hasn't been hit. Trading days I completed. Daily loss is okay. Total loss is good as well. Okay. So currently I have 2 trades open. UJ buy, SPX buy. First one is in profit. Second one is actually in drawdown. So the S&P just seems to be getting sold last week and this week. This is the current equity, 50K and $11, so break even, totally break even. This is the equity curve. As you can see, I started on the 17th of September, which coincides with this super slow period. So if we go to 17th of September, somewhere around here. See, so I started in this slow period, which is not the best time to start, but you never know when it is a good time to start. And this is also what I told you about. So at one point, the highest equity was $53,174. I was pretty close to passing phase one. Phase one target is $5,000. I was pretty close, but hey, we went into some drawdown. So it's a battle. I'm just gonna keep on executing and keep on following this challenge. Definitely subscribe to my channel if you wanna get updates on this challenge. I think this is a pretty interesting experiment because if I manage to pass this challenge and maybe get some payouts, well, it's really not a lot of work to execute these positions. It takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes every single day to catch the prompt from Chat GPT, execute that into this DNA funded account, and then also fill out the journal, because if you're a trader, you must be journaling. If you're not journaling, well, what are you doing? Let me know in the comment section if you have any ideas or suggestions. In part 2, I started to test Grok, which is another artificial intelligence software from Elon Musk. Grok immediately went into some really large drawdowns, so it didn't work at all, which is pretty interesting because all of these companies make pretty similar software. OpenAI, Gemini, Grok, it's all pretty much the same stuff, but for some reason ChatGPT had a great equity curve and still has a pretty cool equity curve, I would say, while Grok just went into immediate drawdown. Definitely watch part 2 because I explained everything in that specific video. If you plan on doing this sort of an experiment, just follow the signals blindly. Don't let your personal trading decisions affect these signals. There were a couple of times where ChatGPT gave me a signal and I thought this is completely wrong, it goes completely against my analysis, but I still had to take it because it's an experiment. If I start intervening and placing my bias on the trades, well then it's no longer just ChatGPT, then it's my own trading as well, and that is just not good. And by the way, in that same period, so from June, on my personal account I'm down minus 3%, so I haven't had the best trading year, and ChatGPT is definitely beating me in percentage terms, but that's okay. I'm just gonna keep executing my plan, and I will make a separate video about my personal performance. So again, subscribe, stay tuned for that. Like the video if you enjoy this type of content, and I will see you in the next one.